Steam controller is very much a new kind of controller that uses many different aspects from the past in new ways or combinations. For that reason alone, it can be intimidating, but especially so given the sparse amount of information out there that is aimed at novice users. With that in mind, I want to take a look at everything that is intrinsic to the Steam controller, approaching a topic from an angle that the user knows absolutely nothing about the device. The information is broken up into two parts, and timestamps have been provided in the description. Getting familiar with the hardware is the first step for new users. While most of this information might seem like common knowledge for those familiar with gamepads, it is still a fundamental foundation that is worth going over. The most traditional aspects of the Steam controller are the joystick, face buttons, and auxiliary buttons, start, select, and home. The joystick and face buttons are a bit smaller than other console gamepads, but otherwise all three of these areas function identically to what many users are used to. The joystick is a standard analog input with a digital input found when pressing it down, while the face and auxiliary buttons are all digital inputs. Surrounding these buttons are two large touchpads, one with a D-pad indentation and one smooth one. These are definitely the Steam controller's most notable or infamous features. For those that have used laptop mouse pads before, these work very similarly. They can detect where your thumb is, how far it has moved, and can also click in for a physical button press. And while you can't normally see it, a gyrometer can be found inside of the controller that detects the device's orientation across 3 axes. Across the top of the controller, we can find the bumpers, triggers, and a micro USB port. While the bumpers behave similarly to other controllers, being standard digital inputs, the triggers are a bit unique. They start out feeling like traditional triggers, but when you pull them all the way down, you'll hear and feel a click. These are referred to as dual stage triggers and consist of both an analog output, all of the free movement space, and a digital output, the physical button at the end. On the back of the Steam controller is where the grip buttons and battery compartment are located. These grips provide 2 additional digital buttons to the user, one on either side. When the back cover is popped off, you can see how the grips actually work. There are 2 plastic stands that sit right against the actual buttons. The battery compartments can be found on either side of the controller and house 1 battery each. The battery compartments are a bit unorthodox in their implementation, but end up working pretty well despite some shortcomings. To insert a battery, you simply angle one in, positive side first, and then slide the negative side in. You will know that the battery is secured when the release mechanism pops out. This is accompanied by a click noise, so you'll have a visual and auditory notification that the battery is properly inserted. As for releasing a battery, pushing these mechanisms up will push the negative end of the battery out far enough for you to pull the rest out. The only negative aspect to this is that the battery compartment is quite snug and there have been incidents of stuck batteries. With that said, I will suggest Eneloop brand batteries, both for size and performance. I've tried many batteries with the Steam controller and I always end up going back to this brand. They have a bit of a snug fit but still go in and come out with ease. Even better is that you will get many days out of a single charge. I haven't done any extensive testing, but these batteries tend to last 4 to 5 weeks with daily usage. If you don't want to worry about managing batteries, you can always plug the controller directly into the PC via the USB port on the top of the controller. This is exclusively a one-way connection though, and can't be used to charge the batteries if they are rechargeable. It can only be used to power the device for wired use. The controller itself has a unique shape and weight distribution to it that causes discomfort and annoyance for new users. This is mostly because people attempt to hold the controller in a similar manner to how they hold other controllers. While there isn't any best or proper way to hold the Steam controller, since everyone's hands are different and all, I'll describe how I hold the controller for maximum comfort. I cradle it in my palms and rest the trigger lip on my middle finger. Due to the battery sitting directly in the user's hand, the controller practically balances itself. For this reason alone, I highly recommend keeping batteries in a device, even if you are using it wired. The extra weight that is applied directly into your hands will keep the controller from feeling top-heavy or too light. That covers all the hardware of the Steam controller, But there is one more aspect of the device that is intrinsic to it: lizard mode. This is the core configuration for the Steam controller and is stored in the controller's firmware. This configuration is used whenever the device is running in an environment where it cannot find Steam. This config includes some basic mouse and keyboard functionality, arrow keys, mouse movement, mouse clicks, enter, escape, and tab, and is designed to enable the user to get Steam running without the need for a keyboard and mouse. Unlike the rest of the software, there currently isn't any method to customize this config as it is stored in the controller firmware. And that is everything about the actual Steam controller. But that isn't everything there is to say about it. Unlike every other controller out there, this one depends on software to reach its full potential. That software is called Steam Input and is simple to use but complex enough to allow you to do almost anything with your controller that you can dream of. For more information about Steam Input and the Steam Input configuration software, check out my tutorial series where I look at each aspect of the software in depth whilst providing some examples of how to use them. This series is called Steam Input Essentials and can be found in the info card in the corner or in the description for this video. Finally, just remember that the Steam controller is a brand new device with its own strengths and quirks. Most people will not pick it up immediately and begin playing with the same proficiency as their preferred device, whether that be the mouse and keyboard combination or a traditional dual-stick gamepad. Not only are there several new motions for your thumbs and fingers to learn and commit to muscle memory, but the gyrometer uses muscles that most likely have never been used for gaming before. So just think back to the first time you played with mouse look, a modern controller, or even a niche peripheral like a Rock Band guitar, and remember that it took perseverance and practice to master that input device. The Steam controller is no different, so just get the right expectations going in and you'll find yourself enjoying it much more.